Hello, hello. This is Yuri of Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me, I have Nate Becker with Higher Ground Moving.
Woo!
How
What's
you doing
up?
today, Nate?
I'm mentally doing pretty darn good. My back's thrown out, so I've kind of been a sack of potatoes. But other than that, I'm just happy to be here chatting with you, man. It's been a minute.
Right. So that whole back situation takes me to basically saying to all of you guys that are out there that are on the truck, make plans ahead. Sooner or later, your body is simply not going to allow you to do this forever. So you got to make plans to delegate. You got to make plans to move forward. You got to make plans to go and wear the big boy pants and not be on the truck anymore and be able to control everything, run everything, but not actually physically do the job.
100%, no matter how young and tough you think you are, your discs wear out. You can't lift fridges forever.
Yeah, we're not designed to do these things, especially when we start getting. I mean, some people still think that I'm younger than I am, but I'm going to be 43 this month, so I'm not that young either. And I still play hockey, and next morning I still feel it.
Yeah.
So, but either way, we got to make those plans to do certain things because we can only go as far as our body is going to take us. And no matter how much, frankly, no matter how much you're taking care of your body and how much you're going to the gym and how much you're doing the holistic treatments and things like that, we only got one body at the end of the day.
It's true, and I can't upgrade to a better body. Not yet, at least.
I know you want to go bionic, Nate.
Yeah, right. And in fact, what you said really rings true because it wasn't until my back was gone is when I was forced to hire people to do what I do and to get off that gosh darn truck. It's just, when I'm the origin I am my business and I was the number one mover in my business for a long time. And I thought, my way or the highway, no one can move better, faster than me, have better communication with the customers. But that only lasted until my back wore out. And now we've hired three people essentially to take on my one job. And it's been, quite the eye-opening experience. I wish that I would have listened to, what you said a long time ago to get off the dang truck.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
Sure. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, don't get me wrong. For some of you, it's bread and butter and it's hard to delegate and stuff like that. For me, it's easier because my business is sales. So I can
Hmm.
stay doing sales and it's not affecting as long as my voice doesn't give out, as long as I'm able to talk, I'm able to sell, right? So it's it's
Hmm.
it's very different. But when your job is physical labor, it affects things. You see this happen all the time, whether it's guys that are doing moving or guys that are doing other blue collar work, your body only gives you so far before everything starts breaking down. And when you get to that point, you got to be ready to do things that are going to be different because your life is going to change and the way that you address it,
Yeah.
the way that you make your body. That doesn't mean that you can't be still involved in your business because you can still do other things, right? You can look at
Oh, there's plenty to
ways
do.
to grow your business, ways to delegate things, ways what can you do different that you haven't really thought of before because you were the guy that had to be on the truck physically. Now you're in the office. Okay, what can I do to get more trucks on the road? What can I do to get better guys? How can I train my guys better? What can I do to make things work better? What can to have more glue within the company that's going to allow things to tick just the way as if I was there on the truck with the guys.
Yeah. I mean, when we started, my wife and I, when we started this company, it would not have functioned without me. And I kept that in my head for too long. And now that I've been out of the day-to-days, every month has been a record month. So we're doing so much better with me out. So which is crazy to think about. Like my team can handle it without me and they prosper without me, which is like a strange thing to think about. And it puts me into have to think about the big picture, like you just said. What are we doing next? We might be expanding soon too, because I'm out of the business and we have the ability to expand. It's just a weird thing for me to think about.
But at the same time, frankly, between you and me, if we're talking financial side of things, right, you're basically now taking a role of a CEO
Hmm.
more fully, right? So realistically, if you were to hire a CEO that's going to run everything for you, that CEO from financial standpoint would cost you more money than a foreman mover on the truck.
Hmm. So I had a little bit of a question to you. Hopefully, this is the right platform to ask it. So we're planning on expanding, and one of the things that I'm most worried about is finding the right person or people to answer the phones. Because here in our Bend, Oregon office, I have the perfect person answering the phones. It's
Sure.
beautiful, but I'm nervous about expanding into Salem, Oregon, because who would I choose and how do I pick? And
You can
isn't that
always
kind of
hire
what you
us,
do?
of
I was
course.
gonna say, like, tell me a little bit about. I know this is your podcast, but if I were a mover trying to expand and I needed someone to answer my phones, what's the process with you? How do you do that?
Does your company need more creative marketing and ad campaigns to improve traffic and organic leads? Well, Moving Sales Professionals has a solution for you. We have partnered with social media marketing agency that has over 300 million views on their ads and videos across social media, and they have generated over $35 million for their clients over the last 10 years alone. Their services include content creation, social media ads, pay-per-click campaigns, website and funnel development, Google Ads, email marketing campaigns, lead generation, and much, much more. For a limited time only, they have discounted rates for their services. Sign up for a free consultation call with us via our Calendly link on our website or below this video.
Now, to give full disclosure here, Nate just put me on the spot. This was not
Sorry.
something that I was initially going to talk about because of by choice, I don't make this podcast about me. I may talk
Oh,
a lot in the process, but I don't make it about moving sales professionals. I don't make it about what it costs to hire to bring our service on. I don't make it about that. So that is not my
genuine
choice. Nate
question for
is the
me.
one that asked the question, which is fine. I'll answer it, but I just want to be clear this was not a setup. So basically, one thing that I want to explain very clear, we have competitors that are out there. Some of them may be listening to this podcast, which is fine.
Good.
I'm very clean about things that we focus on.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that we do that's different from anybody else, first of all, we're not done at the point of sale. So we're still working with your customer all the way through the process.
Oh,
After the booking, the customer is calling us asking questions. The customer may be calling on the day of the move, asking questions about the move itself. Hopefully, they're not calling us too much after the move because if they are, that means that there's probably a claim situation of some sort, which we could still handle for you. But obviously, that's not what we're there for, technically speaking, right? You're
heard.
there for us to book jobs for you. So hopefully, we're not dealing with the claims, but we can. We certainly
Okay.
can. We certainly done it. We certainly do it.
I'm intrigued, man.
Um,
What you guys do is amazing to
in
me.
addition, we're so not to mention any names, but other companies they work what I would like to call a phone company style of call center
What does that mean?
where that means your potential customer calls in. Today they talk to one person, tomorrow they
Oh,
talk to somebody else, day
I
after
don't like
that they
that.
talk to somebody else. So the whole idea of that personal connection is gone out the window.
Hmm.
That's not how we work at all. So we have dedicated reps that work every account. So if you're calling in and you're talking to Joe the whole entire time. So
Nice.
he's talking to you through the move, he's taking your inventory, he's setting up an on-site, or he's doing a virtual, or whatever the case is. He's talking to you about everything. So when it comes to you actually booking the job, or if there's an issue during the move, you don't have to re-explain your situation to
Yeah.
5, 10, however many different people. You're talking to the same guy the entire time. Now, of course, that person is going to have a backup that's going to cover them on the day off, but he or she is your main rep, and that's the
Mhm.
person that they're talking to. The whole idea behind that is that you are building that connection with the customer. In a lot of cases, the customers, you may have the greatest ratings ever.
We do.
You may be more expensive than your competition, right? But at the end of the day, people choose people. And at the end of the day, people choose me at times, yes, because of the company I'm representing, but in a lot of cases they also choose me because of the connection that they feel that they made with me. And they're
Yeah, I mean,
choosing me even though the company I'm representing is more expensive than some of the other companies they've looked at. And that's extremely important. we want to make sure we keep that connection. Frankly, you guys know that we're a third party. We know that we're a third party. We don't want
Mhm.
your customer to know that we're a third party. They
Amen.
want
Yeah.
them to feel like they're talking to somebody that's physically sitting in your office or somebody that's remote but that's working directly for you. And it can at any point call the owner, call the dispatch, call the manager, whatever. And that would be the case. So our sales reps will be able to call you. You will be able to call the sales reps. That communication level would not disappear. So that would stay that way. The other part of why we do this, frankly, we are now there are going to be clients, and we've had these clients in the past, and we have some clients like that now that want to say, okay, so this is our minimum, and then after that, we charge you hourly, right? That's their preference of how they want to run their business and their pricing model. That's not, frankly, that's not our preference. Our preference is to go through full inventory, dig and get as much information about their move as possible and provide it with as accurate of a quote as possible based on the information that was provided. So we want to be on the money, we want to be accurate, we want to be like I want to be able to sleep at night. My sales reps want to be able to sleep at night. You know, we don't want
Yeah.
to have that old lady that you quoted $600 to and their move is really 3,500. You know, we don't want to be like that. We want to make
No.
sure we definitely our goal is to be straight. Our goal is to provide accurate information. Our goal, if anything, is to provide a higher estimate and then end up having to take less time. That would always be our preference.
My
So and so
reputation means everything to
right,
me.
and the same thing with us. So that I don't think there's anybody out there that can say anything bad about the way that we run things. As the owner of the company, as the owner of Moving Sales Professionals, unless I'm out of town on vacation or something like that, you can reach me pretty much anytime to handle any kind of anything that needs to be handled. So if you're calling me and there's a situation going on, with let's say hypothetically speaking, one of my guys misquoted something, right?
Okay.
And the move ends up being 2 hours. The customer is upset. You end up giving your customer 2 hour discount, but you still have to pay your guys, right?
Mhm.
You can call me owner to owner. We can have a discussion and we can hash it out. How is it going to be fair in that particular situation where you don't feel like you made a huge loss, and at the same time, I took care of discrepancy that one of my reps created? Most places are not going to be like that. Most
No, that
places,
sounds
the job
amazing.
is booked. Whatever happens on the day of the move is your problem, right? That's
Heard.
not the situation here. And once again, one of the reasons we do it like that, where the person that booked the job is involved the rest of the way, frankly, in my opinion, that keeps your sales reps honest
Yeah.
because they know that if they screw up, they're the ones that are going to have to deal with that customer.
Mhm. They got to hear
So
about it.
that creates, right, they're going to hear about it. They're going to have to spend their time with that customer, calming that customer down, talking to you, talking to the movers, talking to me. They're going to have to spend all this time that they could be spending booking jobs and making money. They're going to have to spend diffusing a situation that they created by providing a bad quote.
Heard. So can I give a quick 2 minute story about kind of my background? I think it might
Sure.
speak to some people. If you're someone trying to think about starting their own business, moving company because you're listening to this, my wife and I started it with not even enough money to pay for the U-Haul we rented on day one. And we started with absolutely nothing, and now we built it up to being the number one rated moving company in Central Oregon. We're doing, close to $2 million a year out of a place that there's only 150,000 people in our scope. So I just want to let anybody know that who's thinking about starting their own thing to stop thinking about it and just do it. And whatever bad happens, that's called learning. You will learn it, and it's no matter how bad it is, it's better than regretting not doing anything. So just hop on it. And right now we're doing well enough. We're thinking about expanding into a whole nother city across the valley in Salem, Oregon. So I mean, you can do it. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's my little tangent.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I've always been about taking minimal risk as much as it's possible, especially because you don't want to put your family in way. So if you're going to do something like that and you're worrying about the risk factors, like honestly, do pros and cons, write it
Mhm.
down on a piece of paper. Think about what's the most economical way that you can do things. There's ways you can work out that may end up being allow you to do things that you wouldn't have thought possible. But there's multiple ways to run a business. There's multiple ways to run a moving company. There's
Hmm.
frankly I was I was very fortunate that things that I came up with, which in my case, it came from years of experience in the moving industry because I started as a sales guy. I wasn't even in the moving. I
Oh,
still
really?
started in sales. Then I ended up working as a sales guy for a moving company. Then I ended up getting fired because I was making too much money. And then
That
I
makes
ended
sense.
up doing sales for guys that started a company from scratch, and I was their sales department.
Hmm.
I this was back when there were no moving CRMs. We
Hmm.
used I used Microsoft Access to create the whole database from scratch. And then at that point, when I started working for a moving company that actually had a CRM, it was an eye opener.
Yeah.
And there was like, oh my God, there's actually a CRM for this. I was used to using Microsoft Access, so it was like, wow, like the emails go out, all this stuff happens automatically. That is
Yeah.
so cool, right?
And when I first started, sorry, when I first started, I was using a pen and paper for everything.
Yeah.
And then we finally, and it seemed like it was infinity dollars per month, but we got Smart Moving. And Smart Moving is pretty expensive, but it's been so perfect for us. I mean, when we finally got away from doing it on paper and manually sending this and manually sending that, game changer.
Yeah, you
Game.
absolutely have to, whether it's smart moving or something else.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, since we were talking about what we were doing, we will use any CRM that's on the market.
You guys
Um,
are proficient at all of them?
the ones that we don't know, we're willing to learn.
Hell yeah.
But one thing that I would say to you, while we are willing to try anything that's out there, even something that you've potentially created or whatever, we've seen ones
Hmm.
like that before too.
Hmm.
Keep in mind, I'm trying to get things done quickly while I'm on the phone with a customer. So
Yeah.
I need to be able to go from initial hello all the way through the booking process quickly. I want to be able
Yeah.
to take the inventory quickly while I'm on the phone with the customer. So
Do you
as
have
I'm
software
going
for
through,
that?
well, I use whatever you guys use.
Oh,
So smart
duh,
moving
sorry.
or whatever.
I
But
pronounced
anyway,
soft like
I
Ed.
need to be able to go through that process quickly. So if your CRM is new to me, for example, and I got to a point where I know how to use your software and I know it well, and I can do things as quickly as I need to.
Hmm.
At that point, it's the CRM that's slowing me down, not my knowledge. So once we get to that point, what you have is probably not good enough. Like I feel like something um like smart moving, I feel like that it's good enough, it's quick enough. I'm able to get through things quickly.
Hmm.
I use Granite. It's antiquated. There's multiple screens, but you can still get through it, especially if you know what you're doing. I like the old move board. I don't like the new move board. I really
Okay.
don't. So Alarmco, I like the old one. I don't like the new one. The reason I don't like the new one is I don't like the bright colors. Like as
Oh,
somebody that's looking at a computer screen all day long, by the end of the day, my eyes are exhausted and tired. The way that the old one looks, and I use it for one of my clients literally all the time, the
hmm.
colors are not jumping at me. They're not making my eyes hurt, right?
They're
And I
more
think that
muted.
that's important when you're looking at something, right? So that one is all right. The moving software that's in the Virginia, Maryland, DC area, that's primarily where it's being used. That's where the CEO and developer is. That one's pretty good too. I like that one.
Hmm.
But ultimately, we use whatever's on the market, whether you're using Octopus or whether you're using
I haven't heard of
Movegistics or
that.
whether you're using Supermove or whatever. A lot of them have, frankly, a lot of work to do. We have clients in UK now, and we're growing in that part of the world too, fairly rapidly, I'd say. They have some CRMs out there. They're not as advanced, honestly, as US CRMs when it comes to the industry. They're not. The US CRMs are better, but they're not bad. I mean, they're still usable. I just think that in a lot of ways, be, I think it's beneficial that our industry here in US is so regulated. Because it's regulated, it actually allows us to have more things that are focused on these regulations and allows things to be more structured because in UK and Canada, it's more of a free-for-all. In UK, for example, there's a lot of guys that are a man in a van operation, which what we
Yeah.
would call here in US, we'd call that rogue movers,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But there, it's not a problem. Like you can be a guy and a truck and go and move people. Like you don't need
Okay.
any specific license to do it, right? Is it good for the industry? No. Is it
No.
good for the people moving? No. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you get that cheap rate as the customer, but then there's no follow through. If the guys break stuff, they're not going to come and
No.
fix it. They're fly by night. I mean, I think every market is flooded with those guys, and that's kind of how I started out.
Well, that's how, I mean, that's how a lot of guys started out in the industry, right? But I think it's the intent to go legit that plays into it.
Hmm.
And those of us that are obviously, or, we'd love to get some of these rogue people out of the industry because they're hurting us. Because
They
they're
get
not,
themselves out of the industry in 2 years,
well, that
you know?
too. Well, I mean, in US, yes, but not in other parts. Not in Canada, not
Okay.
in
Yeah.
UK. They're part of the fabric. So unless UK and Canada get some things done on the legislative level where they get some laws passed that actually protects the industry and makes these laws where they have to be legal, they have to have certain licensing, they have to have certain skill level to be able to produce certain things. Until they get to that point, that's what has to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think I for that reason I like the US market better because of the structure that's here. In UK, it's a smaller country. There's a lot more movers that are competing with each other. And then you got the whole man in the van operation, which get in the way, right? So, because of
Yeah.
course people are trying to spend less money, but then, it ends up what it ends up.
Well,
We all know what those moves look like.
let me ask you a question then.